Going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. I believe this is episode 135, and today we have 2023 NCAA champ from North Carolina, Austin O'Connor. Austin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course, Austin. First of all, just want to say congratulations from all of us here, as our whole group of people that work with us. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your coaching staff. I'm sure you're pretty happy with your results this season.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Of course. So Austin, we kind of just want to know where it began, where you came from. Obviously you're wrestling out of Illinois. What kind of got you into wrestling, and what is kind of a little bit different about wrestling high school in Illinois.
Yeah, so my family didn't really have much of involvement in wrestling, and my dad did a little bit in grammar school, and then got to high school, made the wrestling team, but ended up quitting to play basketball with the rest of his friends. So he never really got too big into wrestling. But we went to go buy a car one day at a local car dealership, and the guy that was selling us our car was actually like the head coach of the local club team, and he actually was telling them to bring by my brother around to practice because my brother was around 7. So he's like, "Yeah, kids usually start around that age. You just have them come by, and we'd love to have you guys." And then we got out there, and I was just a high energy kid running around, and he's like, "Why don't you get him in wrestling too?" So I started by the time I was 4 years old, and then just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, and obviously a very, very successful, very coveted high school career. So what was that kind of like for you? Kind of being that top dog that everybody was chasing all the way through high school.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I definitely could have used a little bit more national recognition. I think it kind of hurt me a little bit that I wasn't a big freestyle Greco guy like the rest of these head wrestlers in the country. But I've always competed for the longest time at Tulsa, Reno, a lot of the Cliff Keen events, and a lot of these national or folk style national tournaments. So I don't know. I had success early on and brought that into high school, and just continue to grow.
Yeah, I think there's a really cool picture of you out there when you were a little kid. I think it's from either Tulsa or Reno, and it's like you on the top of the podium, and I think it's Siriano, and there's another like big name that was also, and you won the whole tournament. So I thought that was a pretty cool picture of you when even when you were young. You were right up there with those top ranked guys.
Yeah, I actually had some killer brackets back in the day. I mean, I had probably all the top guys in the country that I've competed against at one point. But yeah, I think that was the first year I've actually heard about Tulsa. I started out on Team Gomez with Austin Gomez for a while, so I competed with him, and he was the one that told us about the tournament. So I got some outside exposure and went to there and competed there for all the way up into high school.
Yeah, awesome, awesome, and obviously you were a four-time state champ. So coming out of senior year, what was your recruitment like, and how did you kind of land at UNC?
Yeah, so I had a lot of recruitment. Probably I got recruited as soon as you were allowed to. I took a bunch of unofficials to just check out different schools that I liked. I always thought about going to Iowa growing up. I felt like my style fit their style and brand. And then I was looking at some other schools, but I didn't really get recruited by like Iowa or Penn State or Ohio State. But I still had a lot of good colleges recruit me. Like Missouri was top 5 at the time, Illinois, who I would have had Isaiah Martinez as a partner, and that would have been big. But with just the things that were happening at UNC, I wanted to be a part of it. I knew Coleman was getting here, ready to change the program, and he's had a lot of success and could help me get to where I needed to be. So.
Definitely. And I know we touched on it a little bit when we talked to your teammate Lachlan McNeil, who obviously, he had a very, he's a little bit younger than you, and he had a very successful year as well. What, bring what happened, with, the whole change bringing in Tony. I know bringing in Tony Ramos for you guys, on the coaching staff. What was that like bringing him in, and, kind of a little bit of a culture change for you guys?
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, around the time I was getting here, both of them were just coming to the program, and you see guys at the highest level from two different programs. I mean, kind of just gives you a different style and perspective on wrestling. I mean, you got OSU guys who are very good, technically sound, and then you have Iowa guys who just grind through positions like Tony. So it wasn't a bad draw to get them both in a room and be taught different wrestling styles from each of them.
Yeah, and I mean, for you, what's it like? Obviously you had Keyshawn Clark was there, with you, and now, you have guys like Gavin and Lachlan McNeil. What's it like having teammates like that surrounding you, in your program?
Yeah, we've had a few big names since I've been here. I think the program really started getting started around the time we got here. We had Chip Ness, we had Troy Highland, another two big All-Americans, and then we had multiple All-Americans since I've been here, Sherman Clay. So I think just the whole culture of the program's changing, that everybody wants to be successful and get on the podium. We've got so many All-Americans by now. Now it's time to start getting more national champs. So I think our program's heading in the right direction. And I think these young guys who have seen the success early on from some of us older guys, just kind of get that killer instinct about why can't they be the guy as well? And they've seen it done before. So at this program, so why can they do it? And finally had a few young guys get on the podium as well with us.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And you've kind of been, the main character of North Carolina's wrestling team for, the last 5, 6 years at this point. And obviously you've captured 2 national titles. What was that like for you? This last run at it, you put the crown on your head after you won.
Mhm.
What kind of surreal, moment were you going through as that last whistle went off and you kind of realized, this is it?
Yeah, I mean, all kind of just 20 years of wrestling kind of came down to one moment. And I wanted to finish off my legacy the right way of being back on top of uh the podium. And people think I fell off last year with taking eighth, and I knew it was just an injury. And as soon as I got healthy, if I was competing to my fullest, nobody was going to be able to beat me. So just going in with that mindset that I was the guy to beat, nobody was going to touch me this season. I think just helped me get to where I need to be again, back on top.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of a moment after the match. Was there any kind of like exchange of words between you and obviously Levi Haynes, a true freshman out of Penn State? Was there any kind of like a of an exchange between you two after the match?
I just wanted to wish him good luck with his career. I mean, the kid's obviously young. He's a true freshman coming in. So, and he had a great season, but yeah, I was just saying I'm excited to watch him wrestle.
Definitely, and I mean, a lot of people had you and him being that final. I know obviously he had to make some movement around, and obviously had that knee injury last year, and got the surgery, and you're back on top this year. And I think again from all of us, your wrestling this year was incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah. So moving forward, what's the plan? Your college career at UNC is officially over. When's the next time we're gonna see Austin O'Connor?
Well, I've just been talking about Coleman, so I think I'm going to stick around and help coach for a year. Just kind of give back to these guys. We have a lot of great kids that came in even this past year that we had red shirt. So I want to help them and give back to. They were just helping me out all year, and then after that, after I save a little money, I'll either move down to Cali and train MMA out there, or maybe even Texas. So just plan on training with those AKA guys and being an MMA fighter.
Are you ready to throw your hat in the fight game, huh?
Yeah, ready to start training, picking up some different martial arts. It'll be exciting.
Definitely. And I think, what has it been, for you watching Bo Nichols, success that he's had so far in the UFC? And I know, Jordan Oliver and Meredith, they're gonna go over and, throw their hat in Bellator. What's it like, seeing guys like that wrestled amongst kind of have some success in the MMA game?
Yeah, it's crazy to see that. And I think you're going to start seeing it a lot more. I mean, a lot more college level athletes are talking about going into MMA and everything. I think it's just honestly right now over wrestling, it's just more payout, more publicity, uh, and exposure than what we could get in wrestling currently. So I think a lot of guys are transitioning over, seeing all the success that people are having, and I mean, wrestling's the best martial art in the world that you could have over any of these other ones. So just kind of makes it seem a little easy for us. You get on top and you go after some ground and pound. It's going to be tough to beat a guy like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I agree with you 100%. The transition is going to start, definitely becoming a major thing you see, because like you said, there's not a ton of money in wrestling unless you're winning the Olympics every 4 years. And I mean, how many guys do we have that are doing that here in the US?
Yeah.
Um, so obviously, like you said, fighting's the next game. It's the next plan. Is it just kind of whoever wants you's gonna get their get you on their promotion?
I mean, I'll have to talk to DC about that when the time comes. I think he's going to be helping me out a lot, so he'll kind of give me a direction of where to go. But um, yeah, right now I'm just focusing on the transition and picking up these other martial arts right now.
So what's it like having somebody like that on your side? Having a guy like DC and you being able to have contact with him, and obviously he's a legendary UFC fighter at this point in his career.
Hmm.
What's it like being able to have him as kind of a mentor and fit mentor figure, and who are some other big names that you've been able to kind of roll around with or practice with?
Yeah, DC's a great guy to have in your corner. He's real personable, got a great sense of humor, and he's just a real cool guy that, I mean, he definitely looks out for the wrestlers. I mean, he's giving back out in Gilroy right now, helping the high school team, and he's just a great guy. So it's cool having him around, and I'd like to get down to California and compete where he competed and everything. And he's been setting me up with guys. 2 summers ago, right after my first national title, I flew down there and got to train with Islam right before one of his fights. Khabib was down there, but he's retired now, so he wasn't really on the mat too much. But yeah, I just got to train with all those Russian guys and a bunch of other people that are down at AKA, and it was real fun.
So what was that like rolling around with? Because I know you see some of those videos online of their training, and you just at the it's some of the craziest wrestling and grappling training. What was it like getting your hands on guys like that?
It was kind of unexpected. I mean, they don't really have a full wrestling background. It's more tailored to fighting. So, I mean, it was crazy the strength that he had and like how he used his different positions to kind of be able to adapt that to a wrestling style. So I mean, it was fun to like just kind of roll around with him and just kind of see what he had to offer and how good his wrestling was when he focuses on MMA all the time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think obviously, Russia was the crazy powerhouse of wrestling back then, but it's crazy to see how, they're kind of going through the same thing that the US is going through. Or a lot of, those guys who were wrestling over there are now going to start, siphoning into the UFC and all that kind of stuff and take their, throw their hat in and fighting. And obviously, Khabib kind of broke it open for, all the guys over there.
Yeah, yeah. I think wrestling is going to be a huge part of the UFC in a few years.
Definitely. So we asked the fans for some questions. So we'll kind of touch on that a little bit, see what they had to say. I'm sure there'll be some interesting ones.
Hmm.
All right. One of the fans wanted to know, what is it like wrestling at a school that's primarily known for basketball? Do you feel like wrestling gets the same level of respect and treatment as the rest of the sports at UNC?
I mean, I don't know if we'd say we get the same as basketball. Just basketball is a huge sport in general, but I wouldn't say anyone disrespects us anymore. I mean, I think we're definitely making a name for ourselves, not basketball alone, but we have kind of a tradition here of being good at sports and bringing home multiple national titles a year. We had two national champs in swim. Well, one girl that won 2 national titles in swim in the same weekend that I won it. We had the soccer team take second. So I mean, it's our entire campus that is good at sports. I mean, even our tennis fencing team, we brought home national titles in them too. So I think all the sports teams respect each other. I think we kind of are starting to get more recognition now that we're getting national champs as well. But it's hard to be um, as recognized as the basketball team, if that makes sense. I mean, it's basketball. Everybody loves basketball.
Definitely. A lot of people, are asking, what do you think Coleman Scott's biggest impact has been at UNC?
That's a tough one. I mean, Coleman's helped us with everything. I mean, he's part of the recruiting, he's the coach, he's does all these different things. I mean, he's brought in a great coaching staff to help him, so he doesn't have to take on every single role. So I think collectively he's just had all the right things set up in place that has benefited our team and getting to where we need to be.
Definitely. I think, obviously having a guy like that in the room can do nothing but help the program.
Mhm.
So a lot of people want to know who was your hardest match that you've had throughout all of your college career? Who was that one guy that really just gave you a hard time?
I mean, I had a few of those guys. There was Mitch Finesilver, who my freshman year I split 3-3 matches. Got him where it counted at the national tournament with 2 wins over him there. But another guy, Micah Jordan. I mean, that guy had my number. He beat me once early in the year and once later in the year. And usually I perform my best at nationals. So I mean, I might have to say him just because there's not too many guys that could beat me at the end of the year at my best at the national tournament. And he got me. So might have to go with Micah Jordan.
Michael Jordan. So growing up, did you watch a lot of wrestling?
Honestly, not really. I put so much time into wrestling, just being in the room, being around it all the time that the only real matches that I ever really watched was myself and just kind of learn from my mistakes. And then occasionally like a video here and there, but I wasn't watching all these big tournaments growing up, just more focused on my wrestling, how I could improve mine.
And a lot of people want to know, what kind of what kind of training did you do physically and mentally this year? Obviously coming after, you had surgery and had a rough season last year. What kind of things did you do to get ready for this season? Kind of get your mind right.
Well, I think collectively over the last 6 years, training in a D1 college, kind of changes you and your work ethic and everything. And I knew as soon as I didn't finish the last season the way I wanted to, and that my knee needed surgery and everything, I was ready to hit the ground running, and just kind of had a mindset of I'm not going to waste my last year. I'm gonna be back on the top of the podium when my career is all said and done, and just kind of kept that in the back of my head. One last push, one more time to just get through this rehab and get back on top.
Definitely. And I mean, obviously, you had very great success this year. Um, I always love these ones. Your teammate, Lachlan McNeil, has a question for you. He wants to know what sound you make.
What sound I make?
Mhm.
Just like in general, or like on the wrestling mat when I'm competing, or
Lachlan McNeil has left. The question is, ask him what sound he makes. That's it.
I think I know what he's looking for. But
I do believe
go,
Jace Palmer did
go.
indeed reply with a comment of a goat emoji. So I do think that was the sound they were looking
That
for.
one on the head.
Yeah, I think you hit that one out of the park. So that was some good fan questions. Thank you everybody who sent questions in. We appreciate you guys. When we posted on Instagram, sending questions for these guys. So now we have some questions for you as well. Um, were you a big wrestling shoe guy going through the grade school and high school? If so, what was your favorite pair of wrestling shoes you ever wore?
So I have a few of these actually. Well, two to be exact. So I really love the Addy Stars from Adidas from back in the day. Those were probably the most comfortable pair of shoes I've ever wore. But then just like the university call-outs of like UNC and all of those always look super nice.
I feel like any wrestling shoe that had that UNC blue always looks so cool.
We got the cleanest colors out of anybody, I think.
I, you know what? I will have to give you that. I
Yeah.
think that blue is just and you can put that a blue on anything and it makes it look cool.
hmm
Um, Next question we have for you is just give us just a quick rundown. What's a day in the life of Austin O'Connor during the wrestling season?
Honestly, I'm kind of a homebody, so I usually wake up in the morning. We had 6:30 lift this year, so I go to that. Um, Come back home, cook breakfast, um, get some food in me and everything, and then I think by about 2 o'clock I'd have practice. So just kind of filling my day if I had anything else, maybe taking a quick nap, and then go to practice. I actually had to change my schedule this year. My school schedule kind of interfered with practices this year because I'm in a grad program and I can do anything. So I practiced earlier than the whole rest of the team, got done with that, and then I had night classes, and then I'd get home. Uh, some days I'd go back out and cut weight. Some days I'd go just watch Netflix and just kind of hang out at home and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like it gets a little tricky sometimes when you're at your fifth and sixth year like that.
Mhm.
And we just had an interview a couple hours ago with Jared Franick from North Dakota State, and he said, that as you get older and as you get into the fifth and sixth year, what has your recovery been like? Do you think it now takes a little bit longer for you to recover from hard practices, and you still kind of feeling it in the morning a little bit?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I had a few more bumps and bruises this year, but I think with my wrestling style, I've just kind of gotten used to that, just being banged up and everything. And so, I mean, the only difference is you just kind of have to stay on those. Like you have something, you feel it. Like you're going to the trainer sometimes. Sometimes it's just something you could work out on your own at home, grabbing a lacrosse ball, kind of just helping get the knots and everything that's hurting out of you. But uh, yeah, definitely, I felt it this year. Getting old.
And like I said to him, I don't know how JB still does it. Like I like everybody that we've talked to that's like a fifth or sixth year, and JB's going on 10 plus years of high level competitive wrestling like that.
Mm.
I said he must have some of the best training staff in the world.
Yeah, those guys got to have a secret, something.
Something in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
So going into your wrestling style, what's your favorite attack from neutral? What's the go-to, that you love to do?
I mean, everybody always says my front head, but I like to shoot. I like to kind of wear on the guy a little bit, pull down, and um, I like to finish like a nice clean shot if I can.
Mhm. So where did you kind of establish that Fret Headlock series? I know, like obviously, like you said, a lot of people kind of know you for that. So where did you kind of build that up?
I actually started, I think, learning it from Perler Wrestling. They kind of showed me the football grip, and then I've just kind of adapted it to make it my own, and just had a lot of success with it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you won nationals. So what's your favorite post weigh-in meal? You step on the scale, you're off, on weight. What are you eating after?
The one thing I gotta have with me is Cheez It Duos. But other than that, I usually just have some water, and then usually like a sandwich, maybe just like a turkey sandwich. I'll put some cream cheese on it, mustard and ham.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that seems like that would be, pretty good. Somebody from Cheez Its needs to reach out. Austin O'Connor needs a sponsorship. This
After my
man.
first national title, someone made me an edit with the Cheez-Its box or whatever. Because I think Willie Saylor was the one that posted me holding the box of Cheez-Its, just eating them, and never heard anything back from him. So
Wow, they lost their opportunity for some really good NIL.
yeah, I
Uh,
know one day I'll get it.
one day during one of your fight camp could be sponsored by Cheez It. That'd
Yeah,
be
I want
pretty
yeah.
exciting. Now, what do you think was different this year that you went up a weight class? Do you think were able to kind of feel a little bit more healthy, a little bit more natural at a bigger weight class?
Yeah, I still I didn't really have to cut weight. I think that was the biggest change. A lot of I could focus on my training a little bit more. When I was going 49, there was probably 1 to 2 days out of the week pretty much designated to just cutting weight, just get that final weight cut off. This year I was able to focus on my training pretty much 5 days a week up until the day we competed. Even at the national tournament, usually that day one and day two, you're going back to the hotel after your matches and cutting weight. And I was a pound under both days. So um really just felt great all year. Didn't really have to worry about my weight too much. And yeah, made life easy.
Definitely. And, going back to, we talked about your toughest opponents. If you can wrestle anybody, any of these great, incredible, wrestlers from any day, any time, if you could have like your dream wrestling match, what would it be?
It's probably easy. I'd probably go with Yanni.
Yanni?
I think I have a pretty good style matchup for him. I would have liked to kind of test it out just to see if I could beat him. Um, I mean, Yanni's a great wrestler. He's done great things. I mean, four-time national champ. So, uh, honestly, I'd have no pressure on the match too. So, I mean, I feel like it would be a great match for me to have. I would like it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would definitely be something that the fans would be going nuts for, would be to see you and Yanni go after it.
Hmm.
Definitely. What is your favorite UNC singlet that you have ever worn?
That's a hard one because I'd always would have said the black ones, but then I lost first round of nationals in the black one. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Carolina blue. I'm undefeated in the finals with Carolina blue.
Definitely. Definitely. And the big question, this is the question that we ask every single guest that comes on, from episode 1 till now, episode 135. You could take 3 of your University of North Carolina teammates with you into the zombie apocalypse. Who are they and why would you take them?
Hmm. One, I'd have to go Nick Fay. The kid's crazy, and I think he would do well in a zombie apocalypse. I think
There's
he would.
no there's no way that Lachlan McNeil, word for word, said, I would choose Nick Fay. The kid is crazy.
I mean, kid's got that killer instinct, so it wouldn't be bad to having a zombie apocalypse. Um, number two, I think I'd pick Lachlan. He's smart. He's athletic. He would get some stuff done for us. And then number three, I would go. I think I might have to go Jack Wagner. Kid's got some speed. I think he could help us in some tough situations. So that'd be my lineup. Those three.
That would be your North Carolina big three. Well, Lachlan did pick you, so that's good. You guys got each other, I guess, at the end of it all. One more question for you. Say something to the kids. The kids watching this, or the kids that might watch this a year from now that want to be just like Austin O'Connor, want to be a D1 national champ. What would you say to them?
I'd say my biggest takeaway from my wrestling career is staying consistent. I think consistency in your training and your diet, everything just all adds up. And eventually that's going to help you get to where you need to be, even if you're not there now. So stay consistent in your lifestyle and it'll work out for you.
I mean, you guys, you hear that coming from the mouth of a two-time NCAA champ. It's kind of hard not to believe it. It's been episode 135 of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. Thank you, everybody who listens. We appreciate you. Have a good night.